What's good, Joe? Welcome to my review for this week's episode of Bleach 1000 Year Blood War. Bro, this episode was fucking amazing, bro. Amazing animation from Period, man. Great stuff. Apparently, this is something I've been hearing a lot from like Twitter and stuff. But apparently, a lot of this episode had a lot of anime original content, which we already knew was going to happen. We already knew when the anime was announced. Everything that Kuma wasn't working heavily with the anime team, and of course, expanding on the Blood War anime with stuff he couldn't originally put in the manga due to his health and everything. So apparently, this episode had a lot of original content. Obviously, I won't be able to tell you which parts are the anime original and what wasn't because I haven't read the manga. But yeah, that's something I've been hearing a lot on Twitter is that there was a lot of anime original content in this episode. Either way, man, this episode was a blast, and let's just jump right in. So we start this episode off basically right where we left off last week with Kage. Yes, I went back to James's reaction to figure out how to pronounce his name, so I know how to pronounce his name. Kage, basically where he's just like over everyone's body, like that super menacing shot he got right before, and like Ichigo shows up with like Nell peeking over his shoulder. Oh my god, it was especially when Nell actually like after like he notices Ichigo and the guy like says like, oh, a Soul Reaper with an Aranka. How odd. She kind of like hides behind his shoulder. It's really cute, man. It's really cute. Anyway, so his Majesty, obviously talking about Yuha, says that Ichigo was listed as a special threat, and we see a bunch of the Quincy's show out of nowhere. You know, they get their bows out and they all fire. Ichigo obviously doesn't do anything to him. And also during right here was when we get a flashback back to the Arankar arc where we first saw Uryu use his he ren he Hirenka, Hirenkuyuka, Ryukaku. I might know I'm mispronouncing it, but you know the Quincy's version of the Flash tab, which I'm gonna mention this right now because I know someone's gonna bring this up. You guys remember back in my super reviews how I always gave Toei so much shit over like them always reusing anime for whenever they did flashback back to Z rather than reanimating everything, which is what Period did with Naruto Shippuden. Obviously, they're not doing that with the 1000 Year Blood War anime, but hey, the 1000 Year Blood War anime looks way better than DBZ, so I guess than DB Super. So I'm gonna give Perry out the pass on not reanimating everything and making everything look like the Blood War anime. And plus, the black and white and pink filter, I think actually looks kind of cool, man. I kind of dig the look of it for these flashbacks. Anyway, Anyways, like and then anyway, Ichigo kind of dodges it. He's like trying to dodge the attacks. He's asking them if they're Quincy's. He's like, oh, you didn't know who you were engaging with. But he does say yes, we are obviously Quincy's. That's when he unleashes his weapon, which instead of a bow and arrow, it is indeed a sword. Fires a bunch of attacks on which we then go quickly cut over to Yamamoto as he's met with all the head captains, and we finally got some Toshiro screen time, which is always nice to see. You guys know how much I fucking love Toshiro, my second favorite character in Bleach, and what it easily probably has the best character redesign in basically all of manga and anime with this Fullbringer design. I mentioned the same thing with Rukia as well. I fucking love the redesigns they got for the Fullbringer arc and obviously into the Blood War anime, man. They look so fucking cool, man. I love that. I just love Toshiro's look in this in the full. I just love Toshiro's look so much, man. Anyway, Yamamoto basically tells everyone to prepare for war and that we cannot let the Quincy's get the upper hand. Afterwards, once we get back to the anime, that is when we get back over to, which first off, also gotta say I love how I don't know if this is something that's gonna continue on for the rest of the Blood War anime or if this is something they're just doing for a handful of episodes. I love that they still kind of kept up with like even though the first episode didn't happen, the second and the third episodes have both kind of kept up with the Bleach title card format that we had in the original anime with the titles. I think it's really cool that we see him back here again. I don't know if this is going to continue for the rest of the series or this is something for like only a couple episodes, excuse me. But it looks really cool. It looks really cool. So then Kage like pushes up his glasses, thinking he's winning. He's like, oh my shots hit the mark. And then once the smoke clears, Ichigo is holding his fucking attack like an absolute badass, bro. He tells him that I only heard Quincy's use bows, and then tosses it right back at him, bro. Fucking awesome, man. Ichigo is an absolute boss, bro. Absolute boss. That is when he meets up with Orihime and Chad, and then my man just chucks Nell over to her like she's a fucking football to Orihime. And so he's like, oh, and then he pops out of the smoke and says, it makes me dismayed by my lack of skill. And Ichigo tells like, oh, don't worry, your arrows are a lot stronger than Uryu's. He's like, Uryu, are you referring to Uryu Ishida? And so he's like, my attacks are weaker than his. That's not possible. And Ichigo asks him, like, what the hell is he talking about? He's like, oh, so it was like speech is silver, but silence is golden. I've said too much. Forgive me. And that's when he gets that's when apparently he gets a message from Yuha, and he gets orders that's basically time for him to stop fooling around and kill Ichigo. Ichigo asks him, "Who is your Majesty?" But he doesn't tell him for obvious reasons. We're gonna drag this out a little bit longer before we finally get the official Yuha reveal, and I finally learned how we pronounce his name. But regardless of such, he then tells him about that he's heard of this power called Quincy's final state, Lit Steel, if I'm pronouncing that right. Where he then pulls off his glove, then he's wearing like another glove under that's black with this thing in the middle. Also pretty fucking cool. It fires this giant beam that also reminded me a lot of the cross explosions from Ava. I don't know if that was meant to be a reference or something to Ava or whatever, but it just kind of reminded me of that. And then we see his final form, I guess what the Quincy's would call their Bankai, I would assume. And this one is called Quincy Volstern, if I pronounced that right. Also looks kind of cool. Then we head over to Yuha's headquarters where he basically gets updated that Kage is engaged with Ichigo. And that's basically when he sends the rest of all the Stern Rider to get immediately equipped and, of course, invade the Soul Society, which we see at the end of the episode. Anyway, we then, of course, get the badass, like, I guess, commercial cards, I guess these are, for Bleach. One thing I found interesting is that they didn't censor the swastika in this one, because you guys remember with Tokyo Revengers, Crunchyroll censored all the swastikas in there because, even though it means something completely different in Japan, I guess people are too fucking lazy to actually research. Really, swastikas don't always mean Nazis in every culture, but whatever the case may be. I'm glad they didn't censor it here. Although I'm sure that people are still going to complain anyway. Anyway, I digress. We then head over. We see Orihime with like her force field that she's watching on Ichigo. She's healing everybody else. And then we have Ichigo and Kage duking it out as he kind of starts to explain the origins of these forms, how the Quincy Let Steel is a relic of the past, and that it died over 200 years ago due to its fragile nature, and that the only person that kept that Seiketsu was someone by the name of Sosuke Ashita, which I'm assuming is one of Uryu's ancestors, maybe even his grandpa that trained him. I'm not sure. It's been a while since I've seen this whole Society arc. Anyway, so then he's just kind of going off, like, oh, the Quincy Bug Steel is so much better. The difference is heaven. Or this dude is just talking all this mad shit. Ichigo's like, oh, okay, well, he's like, yeah, Ichigo, man doesn't fall there. He's like, oh, if Uryu turned to something this creepy, I'd probably strike him down on accident. So then he notices he's letting go, that he's like easing up on his blade. He gets out of it, hits him with the Getsuka Tensho. You think that did something, but the man just completely no self. It's literally the fucking Aizen finger, like, Aizen stopping the sword, Ichigo's Bankai sword with his finger type shit, where it does absolutely nothing to him, but it's like right on his neck. Ichigo backs away from him. And then unleashes a major attack, and like, oh my god, the effects here, shout out to the animators, man, because the art animation this whole episode was fantastic as always, but the particle effects look absolutely incredible as you see his reishi just disintegrate everything around him, as I'm assuming what he's like doing is like sucking up the reishi from Orihime's shield and the other Ron cars that are around here, and absorbing that power into like his major attack. I'm similar to like the Spirit Bomb. I'm assuming that's kind of what he's going at, but absolutely, man, the particle effects here look absolutely incredible. So as this dude's talking shit, he's saying, "Now witness the power of the Von Stern ditch." We see this big ass massive punch just instantly breaks through his attack and then just sends him flying. We see the remnants of the three Iran cards we saw earlier in the episode that Kage absolutely demolished off screen, where they had then all sacrificed their left arm to create this giant monster thing. I don't even know how you're supposed to describe this thing. It looks badass as hell, man. Big, muscular, has like fucking like moose horns and shit, man. It looks absolutely insane. His parents' name is Aeon, if I'm pronouncing that right. And so he just beats the shit out of this guy. He goes full Loki on his ass like it's a fucking first Avengers movie. Then we head over to Uryu as he's like looking through, I'm assuming his dad's library, trying to find any information he can on the Quincy's. That's of course when he meets up with his dad, which I gotta say, always loved Ryukin's design. Always thought he looked so fucking cool, man. The white hair, the suit, the glasses, man. Oh, so badass, man. Dude, each Kubo is an amazing character designer, man. So this man don't mess with his character design, man. It basically tells him that, hey, what you find can't be it isn't in here. Get out. You're not supposed to be here. Uryu tells him that he deserves to know because he is the last Quincy, and then he kind of like, I guess, almost subtly maybe gave his son a hint. I'm not entirely sure with this dude. Like I said, I haven't finished up the rest of I haven't finished up all the Bleach anime up to this point. I'm like still in the middle of the Car arc. But anyway, so I have no idea what this dude's deal is. But anyway, he tells him that what the information you're looking for is not here. And so he leaves. We then head over back to the Soul Society. We're back with the two Soul Reapers we met in the first episode. When they are met with another Soul Reaper, the 16th of the 13th squad, Hidetomo Kajo Mora, if I pronounce that right. Who at first I straight up thought was like Aizen for a hot second because of like the glasses, the hair, and his face looks very similar to Aizen. You can't tell me this dude doesn't look like Aizen. Because he does, especially with the glass. He looks like Aizen back when he was wearing glasses and had like and kind of had the hair before he kind of like all slipped back and got rid of the glass and everything. He looks very similar to Aizen. You cannot tell me he doesn't. So he asks if he can talk with the Soul Reaper. Basically, he kind of explains what we already kind of knew from the start of the season, the start of the series, where where Soul Reapers, can help Hollows go back, help Hollows go back into the Soul Society and everything, while Quincy just completely annihilate them. And of course, Quincy's been the ones where there are the reason behind why there's been so many Hollows just straight up disappearing all across Japan, which obviously disrupts the balance between the Soul Society and the Serete, which would cause them to just both of them just be completely destroyed. And so he asked him, and we find out because at the same time this is going on, Uryu is looking through the library. Once again, can't find anything, and that's when he realized what his dad told him about what you seek will not be found here. He goes into his office and finds this big old book that has definitely shown its age, and he's reading it, and it's basically, I'm assuming it's telling him what he is also telling Soul Reapers, that the Soul Society tried, and the Soul Reapers did try to work with the Quincy to hope to form some sort of dialogue, but they never ended up working out. Then we had the Quincy extermination thing happen, and of course, over 200 years later, they've come back for revenge and want to destroy the Soul Society. And so we then head over back over with Yamamoto as he's talking with Mayuri, and he's questioning him about why he didn't get permission for his thing about what happened in one of the towns in the Serete, because that we saw in the first episode that was reported by Ukiura. Or not Ukiura, Ikaku, excuse me, Ikaku, and he starts to tell, and Yamamoto starts to blame Mayuri that he's kind of the reason why all this shit's happened. If he had like reported this and went through everything that would happen, but then Mayuri tells him that he's wrong, and the real reason all this happened was because of Uryu and he coming in the Soul Society arc as Ryoka, and he says that the real reason all this happens is because you did not kill Yuha, excuse me. Like I cannot wait till we get to his review and we figure out how the fuck we're supposed to pronounce his name. Yuha 1,000 years ago. So this whole scene I thought was really interesting, especially this is the first time, at least in my case anyway. I don't know, this might have happened a couple of times in the anime, where we actually see someone actually stand up and like defy Yamamoto, the head captain of the Soul Society. That was pretty cool to see. Like I said, I don't know if this has happened other times in the series. Like I said, I'm only about like maybe at the midway point of the Car arc. I don't know how far I am in there. They basically where I left off was just when they entered Aizen's palace or whatever. Anyway, so that was, like I said, that scene was really cool. Like I said, we almost never see anybody like straight up like defy and talk back to Yamamoto. So that was pretty interesting to see. Then we get back to Aeon just beating the shit out of Kage. Like I said, this dude goes straight fucking Loki on his ass like Hulk in the first Avengers movie, just swinging him around, Oh my god, it was pretty funny. So then we see and Orihime is kind of a little shocked at seeing all this destruction. She's like holding her mouth and talking, Orihime. And then once he's finally done, we see his body just all limped all around with like his legs up in the air while the rest of his body is sucking into the sand. The Iran cars are all talking shit like ha ha ha. He's like, and so one of them starts to approach him, but then of course she gets stabbed by his sword. he gets back up and says, "Oh, I must advise His Majesty to adjust the strength on our blood." And then like he starts put his neck back into place with all the cracks and everything. Great sound design here, man. And then he unleashes his and then he hits his attack once this other attack again. This time, not only is he taking like the reishi just from Orihime's shield, but now he's straight up like just like sucking out the life force from them, their reishis within their bodies, because we see Aeon straight up charging toward once again the particle effects of the show, man. I've been saying, like when we see Orihime's shield start to like deconstruct and everything, and of course we see all the little particle effects from his move. Oh my god, it looks absolutely stunning, man. Seriously, shouts out all the animators that work on this episode, man. It's absolutely insane. But anyway, as I was saying, Aeon starts to charge right towards him, and then we start to see first off, and as he's turning, we see like his parts of his body start to come up and just revealing his flesh. And the next thing we see is him falling down with his legs still there, but the rest of his body is just a skull and a spine. I'm also kind of shocked this didn't get censored because this is kind of graphic, bro. I mean, there's no gore or anything, but it's still quite the sight to behold, man. And then as he's like sucking away the life force from all the different characters, and we see like parts of like Orihime's getting to come up a little bit of chat. She tries to protect the other Aran car that she had in her shield. Chad tries to use his shield to protect her, but then parts of the shield start to come off. And then we see what happened where he basically kind of like merged with Aeon, and we see like this really badass form where he has his wings, but they have like two eyes from him, and one of his arms is all super bulky like Aeon's, man. His design looked fucking sick, man. This is a badass design if I've ever seen it, man. So then the Iran, so like I said, he keeps going. Like so, then the Iran cars just to take their friend. They start to get away from him, and then as he's like sucking up the reishi and everything, Ichigo coming in there full Bankai, slices half of his crown thing off, and starts and then these two just start going at it, bro. It was absolutely amazing, man. The animation here was absolutely insane, man. Oh, so good. That's when we quickly run back over to Urahara and Dio as they finally found Don DeChaka as they see that they're trying to reach Ichigo, and Urahara's the one that's carrying Don DeChaka on his back with his little cloth thing he's got around him, man. That's when we head over back with Uryu as he's still reading the book. That's when Ryosuke comes in there and tells him once again, "Hey, don't come in here without permission. This is the second time we asked Uryu, or Uryu asked him rather, if what is written here is true." And he tells him, "Uryu, this doesn't concern you." And then Uryu just runs off. I'm also kind of surprised he didn't take the book with him. But anyway, we come back to the Soul Society, and the dude's just like, "Oh, don't worry, we got the 11th Squad protect you guard this place. It's totally fine." Of course, right as he says that, boom! Flames start coming up, and that's when all the Quincy's show up, which we saw most of this already in the trailers. But man, it's so good to finally see Renji and Rukia back. They finally got some screen time. We got to hear them speak again. This is going to be so good to hear this in the dub, man, when, of course, we got Michelle Ruff and Renji's VA. I don't know his name off the top of my head. It's going to be good to hear them back, both of them back. But, they look great, man. Love the animation. Rukia cute. Rukia looks amazing as always, man. Love it. Anyway, one of the Quincy show up there, and he just starts annihilating the Soul Reapers, blowing up one dude's head off. He like fucking creates a massive hole in Kira, and then of course we see the bunch of the other Quincy's, like I said, which you already saw a lot of this in the trailers, and of course including Bambiette, who I've heard from what I've seen, is a fan favorite of the Quincy's, is Bambiette. So let's see how I feel about her when she starts getting some screen time. I gotta say, she's pretty cute. I like her design. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we end the episode off with one of the Quincy saying, "Tremble in fear, Soul Reapers. The stern writers are going to purge you all." Badass, badass, badass. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is where the episode ends. Phenomenal episode, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, one other thing I forgot to mention. I don't know how I forgot to mention this until the start of the video. But it was confirmed a few days ago to last week that the Bleach stuff is going to be airing on November 4th, I believe it is. It's like the first Friday of November, and yeah, November 4th on Hulu. At least for this stage, it doesn't seem like this is going to be a thing for Disney Plus, at least internationally, at least just yet. And hopefully that means that we're going to be seeing it on Toonami 2 days, the next day on Saturday. Saturday nights. Seems like it's going to be going on there. So yeah, like I said, I'm not entirely sure if I'll switch the review dates to Sunday or to whenever. But I might just power through it for the rest of the semester. Just be like, fuck it, I'll just power through the rest of it and just keep reviewing these on Monday for you guys. Keeping up with the Jet, keeping up with everyone else on YouTube. Not sure yet, but yeah, the dub is going to be coming up very soon, and I can't wait to watch it. Hopefully, but hopefully with it becoming the fourth, that basically confirms that we are going to be seeing it on Toonami that Saturday. Hopefully, because I want to see, because Bleach deserves to be back on Toonami, man. It's going to be a good time, man. Anyway, guys, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Or like, before I leave, I gotta give you guys my final verdict. My bad. Anyway, guys, overall, I give this episode a 9 out of 10, guys. So now, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like if you did, subscribe if you're new. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, flag links down description box below. And as always, come back for more. See you guys next time.